Hi, I'm Mark Reagan, Director of Music at Christ Church, Moscow. I'm here to introduce our September Hymn of the Month, which is a psalm paraphrase of Psalm 48, "The Lord, the only God is great." As you're turning to this, and we'll be using a handout and not the Cantus Christi for this particular one, as you're turning to this, you'll notice that this resembles other songs that we do, which are fuguing tunes. Based on the early composition of this is not actually a fuguing tune. This is a tune of European origin, and it sort of predates the high water mark of fuguing tunes by at least a century. So it's not a fuguing tune in the same sense, although if it quacks like a duck and walks like a duck, it must be a duck. I'll show you how it is a fuguing tune here in just a moment. The text comes as a psalm paraphrase from the Tate and Brady Psalter of 1696. And sometimes this is called the New Version because in England at the time, this is the late 17th century, they had grown used to using the old version or the Sternholden-Hopkins Psalter. And so by 1696, there was a need to try something new, and so the New Version came along. What you also see is the name Valerie Bost at the bottom of this. So Valerie has helped us to adjust and expand these words for our own use, and we're glad that she did because it's a great song that she has given us to sing in worship. Like a fuguing tune, the voices all start together. So at the beginning, they'll sing the words, "The Lord, the only God is great, and greatly to be praised." They sing those words all together. Then they break off into an imitation. So the tenors start, "In Zion, on whose happy mount," those words, "In Zion, on whose happy mount," sung by the tenors, then the basses, then the altos, and finally the sopranos, one by one, coming together in an imitative fashion. And that's what makes it sound like a fuguing tune. And no doubt, fuguing tunes which came along later were based on music of this sort. The sound of the music is in what's called Mixolydian mode. So Mixolydian mode sounds a lot like a major scale. Here's a major scale. Sounds a lot like that, but it's going to have just a slight twist at the top. I'll play this slowly. Mixolydian mode. So in modal music is sometimes tied with folk music or with sometimes with church chant. It gives it just a little bit of a different flavor, and I would say a strong. It lends a sort of strength and sturdiness to this tune. But Mixolydian mode is also common in rock music. So if you're listening to rock music and say, that doesn't sound quite like major, it might be Mixolydian mode. There's a good chance that that's what it is. So let me talk about why this is important, why this is an important song. Like many of our songs, they're there so that we can praise the Lord. They're there also to teach and admonish and to build up our faith. And when we sing, we're able to do that in a winsome, infectious way, and in a way that's also very orderly, that hundreds of people can do together at the same time in the act of singing. But what we're trying to reinforce with this song, and this Psalm 48, is the idea of the fortress walls of Jerusalem, a lot like Psalm 46. The psalmist urges the Christian, or the singer of the psalm, to walk around the city complex of Jerusalem and survey what is there, observing how things are put together, how they're built, how many towers there are. And the transitions from one idea to the other are pretty quick. In the same breath, the psalmist sees God's defense and deliverance through the building of these walls that are surrounding him. So he realizes that it's not just the stones stacked up high on top of each other, but it's actually God who's working through these means to protect his people from their enemies. So enjoy singing this psalm, enjoy the Mixolydian mode, the hearty character, and enjoy singing these lines of imitative polyphony together.